Good game, guy. Hey guys, welcome to Podtendo's Ultimate Tier Ranking List, where we talk about our podcasts that we did yesterday on YouTube in a static, still, boring image. We're sorry. Not sorry. We've talked about it. Maybe we'll start adding stuff to this. But for now, I'm your Mick. I'm joined by
Tyson.
Awesome. And we get to rank Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. So this is our kind of overall list. Every game we've ever played ranked. You can kind of quickly look at this list, go through it, piece it together, and say, all right, these are the games. We've done all the hard work. We've screened them out. You don't got to play Banjo-Kazooie because it's skippable. We saved that favor. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Woo.
You are so welcome. Think of all the hours we're saving you. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, but skippable tier. Think of all those games that you've been recommended.
I know, and I'm like, oh, I should have adjusted my screen, but I don't think today's game makes that category. So that means we're probably fine. So Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, first released, it was like November 17th, 2003 for the Game Boy Advanced. Pretty fun experience. Has been re-released on the 3DS. So let's I should write down like categories. So in terms of gameplay, how was Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga? How's the gameplay?
Gameplay was solid. I mean, it took a very simple idea of Mario on one button, Luigi on the other button, since it's on handheld with the Game Boy Advance of only having the two buttons and the shoulders. But they really did try to expand it with a lot of the fun puzzle solvings, a lot of the other abilities like the whirlwind or the speed Luigi or whatever. It's like lots of fun gameplay, and they tried to really mix it up. What are your thoughts on the gameplay?
Solid action RPG is kind of what I want to call it. So they always were giving you something to do. So in every battle, you were able to jump and avoid attacks and like timed action commands. It just gave you a lot more variety in gameplay in terms of your classic turn-based RPGs where you're kind of just stuck watching the screen for the most part after some menu prompts. So it definitely felt more interactive. Some fun overworld puzzles, a lot of different mechanics, and a fairly good variety overall. I think nothing. I'm not gonna say it was the greatest thing ever, but in terms of just like RPGs, it's more entertaining than like a Pokemon game.
Yeah, and I think gameplay wise, really solid.
Yeah.
What about the story? What do you think of the story of Super Mario RPG?
Oh, this was one of the greatest flaws of this game. I was expecting just so much more from the story. Princess Peach's voice is kidnapped. We have to go rescue it. Turns out it was a fake Princess Peach, and now Peach shows up, and then she gets kidnapped, but then Luigi gets kidnapped, and then Bowser, he was there, and he was like our friend, and then he becomes the villain, and then he's brainwashed, and now he's the villain again, and he merges, and it's kind of terrible. Can you defend that story?
No, I can't.
Okay.
It's completely hodgepodge, and I think when the imposter, when the real Peach shows up at the airport, it really like raises all sorts of eyebrows because it's so to left field. Like she's flying in on the airport. They have airports in Mario, and it's like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, that other one was this. This is what really happened. And I kept waiting for the shoe to drop to be like, oh, here's like this guy's up to no good, and this imposter Peach is actually it's a false Peach. Or this real Peach is actually the false Peach, and the one that lost her voice is still like can't tell you, no, I'm the real Peach, or something like that. But they just didn't do that. They kind of just kept jumping into the next hoop, and it like just didn't have any coherency to me.
Yeah, it lost me somewhere. What other elements are there? Sound design. I don't know if I even listened to the sound design because normally I listen to something like other podcasts or doing something else kind of. It's like tertiary, right? Like watching TV and watching this. So that doesn't stand out. Gameplay, story,
presentation, kind of like how is it actually like laid out? Like what's the UI? Like is it clunky? Is it like I think it's not amazing. Like, but they do fix it in the remaster. They realize not having a proper map in the first game is a real kind of like, oh, this sucks. Whereas in the second one, it's just there on the
Yeah,
second
there you
screen
go.
at
So
all.
yeah, my experience of playing on the 3DS versus just the Game Boy Advanced, my creature comforts were greater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, me playing it on the Switch Online, I had rewind features and save states, so it was a trade-off.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think solid. I guess we get on to like what would you recommend this game, or
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on this game?
I really enjoy it. If you're a hardcore RPG and you like that immersive experience, and you like the complete customization of your characters, you're gonna find that this game is just for babies. Like, it is very simple. Outside of maybe the final boss, right? Difficulty, there's a bit of a spike at the very end for like literally the final battle. You're like, oh my gosh, that was intense. But other than that, you're gonna be like, I just don't get it. But in terms of casual players, maybe you find RPGs kind of overwhelming. This is the perfect game. You're going to sink your teeth into it, and you're going to have just an absolute blast. You're going to love it. You're going to run around and just fight just because it is kind of fun. The battle mechanics are just overall fun. It's a very fun game. So if you have any interest in the RPG series, Mario, and you want a fun experience, not challenging by any means, this is your game, right? But any level of challenge, no. Yourself?
Yeah. I think, yeah, and we've always said in our video game reviews, gameplay over anything else. If the game is not fun to play, what's the point of it?
Exactly.
This game is extremely fun to play. It makes you forgive the lack of story, but good games don't necessarily need to have an amazing story. Great or required playing games may need a good story, but I think, where this game falls on our list, I think it doesn't need to necessarily have the greatest story. It just needs to be as fun as it is, and it's so rewarding. Like, it's addicting to play. You never feel like you're waiting in an RPG, and that's outstanding.
That is a big plus. Yeah. So with that, I think that means we have to get into the rankings of this game. We got to put it somewhere on a beautiful tier list. It's a nice static image that you've all sat here and looked at. Oh, maybe I got creative. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Where does it go? So just looking at this, our great experience list. That's kind of where my eyes went to first off, and I'm like, all right, we have a lot of RPGs. We got Chrono Triggers and Final Fantasy 3s and Earthbounds and Paper Mario and Mario RPG.
Yeah, I'm looking because we have the other games that this is Stratosphere, like the Planet Paper Mario, not Planet Mario, and the Mario RPG. But then I look at Final Fantasy 2, and I'm like, I would play Final Fantasy 2 before this, but I think I might play this before I play Gold and Silver, even though I do like Gold and Silver.
See,
but it kind of sits right there in my head.
See, like, and I'm almost like, I know you said like the story shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it is kind of a big deal in an RPG, right? And because it does kind of lose the plot a little bit, I almost don't know if it belongs. As much as I loved it, and I was in, and I bought a physical copy of the new 3DS, like the remake, and I was happy, and I was going to buy all the rest of the series, but now being removed a little bit from it, I don't know if I'd put it in that tier, because all those games seem like they're so elite and they have such special places in our heart. I would kind of look down to the next good but flawed tier and maybe look at like right above the South Park games.
Yeah, I would concede that for sure. I mean, it's I think I kind of slipped and I said it's good and great games need good stories, or same with required. But I do look at like a Zombie Ate My Neighbors, where it's like that doesn't really have a great story, and but that's not the point of the game. That's not an RPG. An RPG needs a story. This is missing, has a really weak pillar in what is required to be like an amazing RPG, and it's like, maybe the next one or two nails it. Like maybe those stories really hit it. Like I think the Time one was really well received, but I think they're all very well received. Yeah. So it's hard to play it until you actually get your hand, or so hard to say until you get your hands on it. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. I think the gameplay is a lot more engaging and funner than the South Park games, even though they are good.
Yep.
But they can get a little bit repetitive. And the thing that makes the South Park game stand out so well is that story. That first time you play through it, it's like playing through an episode of South Park. This game, that gameplay will have you keep coming back. You could forget about that story, but that gameplay's tight.
I think one of the biggest things is like replayability that's holding it back from that great tier. Right now, great. If I'm like, hey, Saturday afternoon, let's play a game all night. any game on that great tier, in that great experience, I'm in. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. This is going to be awesome. Like, let's play Resident Evil 2. This will be kind of fun. Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll play with infinite rocket launchers or something, right? Like, it just sounds fun. The good but flawed, that's when you're like, oh, we should play Donkey Kong Country. I'm like, the first one? Really? Okay, I guess. Like, I'll have fun, but it won't be, like, the replayability isn't as high. And I think that's what's holding back Mario. And, like, Paper Mario, I'd go back and play that game all the time. This game, I don't know if I'll replay it on my own, just because it is lacking that, like, I'm missing a little bit of the nostalgia, as well as because the story is just so goofy. I'm like, I don't know what's going on half the time.
Yeah, so like theoretically, let's say they release, here's a 3-pack of all these 3 games on the Switch. This one, because you just played it, you're not gonna be like, oh, I gotta play it again. It's like, I kind of got it. I had a lot of fun with it, but let's see what the other games are about.
Exactly.
It's just that story where you're like, what am I doing at any given time? I don't really care, but I'm having fun running around doing whatever.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Yeah, going forward, like, I think whatever the next one, Partners of Time or Bowser's Inside Story, we'll be like, oh, I get it. But I think for now, that's a great place for it. It just doesn't, for some reason, like I said, a couple weeks removed from the experience and just talking about it, I don't know if I have as much love in my heart as any of the games above it on this list, right? Like, looking at DuckTales, Sonic 2, Link 2, I'm like, nah, it's not as good as those. It's just, I'm gut feeling I got to put it there. So I'm very satisfied. That's a great list. Like, if you look down, the South Park games are great. Pokemon is great. Minish Cap, awesome, right? GoldenEye, love GoldenEye. James Bond for the Game Boy.
The Rock's in there, yeah.
Oh, like Diddy Kong Racing, Smash Brothers, Tony Hawk. Like, these are some great games. So it's not discouraged being in the middle. It's just it misses that little bit, that elite status. And I think that's just that replayability and like that little bit of storytelling. So, but still, Rarefied Air, awesome experience. Highly recommend.
Definitely. If you love RPGs and you love Mario, or you just like love a good rhythm game, man, pick it up. You're gonna have a blast.
Sweet, awesome. So with that, that ends this our end of our month of Mario for the year. So yay!
Yes. Thanks for stopping by. And I mean, it's always a good time to play Mario games. So.
Sweet. Okay. Bye.
See you.